Hi, Katia. Hi, Elizabeth, right? Oh, that's all right. We understand that, Elizabeth. That's what I thought. I'm hoping today to inspire people to get going on something, no matter what it is. I've got some books for you to look at and a piece that I've been Oh, yes, Elizabeth, or Liz, um, that those papers that you did for us are absolutely wonderful. I mean, you could make a whole design out of just selecting things from maybe 3 different categories. So I'm hoping that today will get people inspired to start and then use your list to go on and that's how I hope today will go. And I have this little, put this up so it shows better. This little doodle piece I'm working on. We're going to talk about this today. This is a chain I've just been doodling with, which doesn't look very exciting, but Liz, I like Liz. That's nice to pronounce. Oh, you're using it to prep for class. Yeah, that is a great thing to do. I need to think about, I looked at it again this morning. I'm trying lately to get my mind to focus better. Oops, I got a contact out of place. I can't see right. There we go. I think, Katia, you know how about me, but I don't know, Liz, if you do. Last week, I wasn't feeling good. My head was really bad, sinus and a cough and everything, and but I was having trouble focusing too. Oh, did you start already, Katia? sure feels strange to have my face on camera and yet be chatting in the chat window, reading it. Oh my gosh, Murphy's been living here with me. Maybe I can send him your way. I've been, everything's like been going really wacky. My, yep, you haven't missed anything, Liz, from her needle class, but I think it's going to be wonderful. I am. I have been hoarse for, I don't know, the last 3 weeks, I think, or right after classes started. And I'm not sleeping real well. And being bipolar, I'm finding myself, my mind races so fast, I cannot focus in. One of the things, like today, I decided to just talk about freeform and inspiration and getting people going, because it's been so hard to just settle on one thing, what I want to teach. And last night, I know I was still awake at 3 o'clock this morning. I finally went to sleep and got up at 8. So, but one of the things I want to try and do, often before, I've taken a week off and then it kept extending into longer and longer time. This time what I want to do is, even if all we're having is a discussion on one thing, whether it lasts a short period of time or a longer period of time, just get online, and as I talk, things start coming to me. So, I think the other thing that happens when I'm like that is I get, like 2 weeks ago when we had the last class, I got so excited about the plates and making a plate, and I was showing you the plates I have and what I'm thinking about tatting. And then I realized even that night and the next day, what am I thinking about such a big project for right now? But when I'm on medication, and usually my mood is quite controlled now, quite steady. And but when they talk about like a manic phase, I just have little blips now and then, and all it does is make me so excited about something, like a tatting project. I think that tatting helps me a lot because it does give me something to focus on. Years ago, I used to shop. That's what I did when I had my manic highs. I never had a problem like a lot of people do with totally out of control, anything like that. So I'm very fortunate that way. But I think I got a little ahead of myself, thinking, oh, I'm going to start a big plate right now. So what I've decided to do, and today I just started doodling with a line of stitches and just to tat something. So I guess it's about 1 o'clock. Hopefully another person or two will slide their way in soon. But if not, we'll go with just the 3 of us, and other people can watch the replay. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hoarseness is coming from. I've actually had it off and on for years, and it's been worse lately. And I get this feeling that I've got these burps stuck in my throat, and they won't come out. You're aiming for a meet and greet next week or the week after. Wonderful. That's exciting. I bet Tammy is, I think, ecstatic to finally have someone who's going to teach the needle tatting. Okay, maybe I'll start talking a little bit about what I've been doing and why. Let me put this down on my tabletop. And I'm using the size, whoops, I'm on top of my computer, which is I'm on my screen. No wonder. I'm not on my tabletop. I've got it flipped. I am just working with making an odd curved piece. As you can see. Because what I want to talk about today is Katia, I've got something up in front of my, there it goes. Tammy's over the moon. Oh, I bet. You've been pressing. Oh, spirals, wonderful. So slow to get the, yes. I started a sample out of my big, this is size 3, my size 3 thread. And I'm going to do all 3 of the tie join, the Catherine wheel, and 1 or 2 others in a long piece so we can really look at how they go together. You finally got it and you're going to persevere on the piece. Oh, wonderful. That's what I need is perseverance. I have a tendency to go from thing to thing. But I want to really get everybody thinking today. If you're not working on a project, oh my gosh, yes. Every time I do a Catherine wheel, it seems like I have to look it up. And the one thing I've found too is that, usually I'll look at Tammy's videos, I'll look at Karen Cabrera's videos, but Karen, I noticed, she does her Catherine wheels it's the same technique, but in a little different order. She doesn't do, when you pull the loop through to the back side, she doesn't do it like that, but she ends up with the same result. And I didn't dare try that today, so we'll look at that sometime. I decided what I could handle this week was just getting a little small piece made and talking about a line that goes both directions, but in smooth curves. And it's actually similar to how you would do a folded ring, although I do my reversing as I go usually, rather than like a folded ring. If you use Martha S's method, you make the ring with the half stitches where you're going to make the fold, and then you fold it when you're done. That's the thing, Katia, that tends to take long. With shuttle, too, I have to figure things out sometimes because, like today, I realized something I was doing different the last time I did these. And what I want to have you look at is, what does it look like if I pull it together, just the piece I have done, and make it into an organic shape. What do you see? I'm going to pull up a screen here to show you, because I didn't realize until later that it looked like, even though I just made it up on the fly, it looks like a pattern that is already out there. A leaf, exactly. And I thought, oh, if I put a point on that. Then I remembered, let me switch to my screen, a petal, yep. I even thought a ghost, maybe, an amoeba. But I'm thinking, what if there were like maybe 3 rows of this? As if you're making a spiral in this kind of a shape rather than in just a round ring shape or a circle shape. There's so many things it could be. The other thing to notice is if I open it up, look what it looks, look what it shape it naturally wants to go in. It's almost like a square or a rectangle, but with rounded corners. So maybe I would do something with rounded corners in the square, but make these two are different sizes. I might make them the same size, different directions, but the same size, and then put another piece over it. If I went back and forth and did this as a block, the 2 sides nestle. You know, I bet I didn't even think of that, but they do. They're not quite the same, but they nestle. Isn't that interesting? See, that's the thing. Just playing around with something like this, yep, a square. I can put a 3rd side on it and make it a wonky rectangle. I also kind of saw when I looked at it, was like, oh, there's a little animal sideways. There's the head. There's could be the arms. There's a little funny tail, or just I could make it the back end of it. And it makes you, but this makes you think of the different shapes and things you could come up with. And what I actually want to show you is when you do this, there is, if you look at this side, notice the edges where, let's see if I can get that focused good. Can you see this one? It's hard to see, and I guess I should have used a different color actually. This, let me see if I can get it just right in the light. Can you see that this one and this one on the bottom, there's nothing, oh, I need a pointer here. There's not anything that breaks the line right across there. But if you look at, let's get one, this one I think is a good one to look at. I don't know if you can see right there. Can you see that little ridge like right there? And there's one on the other side. It's hard to see, but there is a little ridge. However, if I turn it around and we look at on this side, there's no ridge across there, but it does. It's almost, when you look at it like this, it's almost like the caps are little nodes, because you see the one sticking out here and the one sticking out here, but there's no break in the legs. I'm going to have to try that in a different colors to see if I can get it to show more. Oh, maybe like right here, you can see that there's no breaks on this side right here and here. the legs just keep going without a break. If I turn that same thing over, can you see how it's got the little line right there? That's a little ridge. Those two are ridges. Ooh, I think you can see them now. Those are ridges, and they depend. You can, if you want your ridges to all be on the same side, you've got to think about that when you're tatting it. You can see the difference, yeah. So what I want to show you is, and I'm going to just tat up a quick little. Whoops. Oh, I should show you the screen first, where we were talking about the leaves. If you recognize this of course is Moose Can's site. Look at her leaf here. She always does a lot of playing around with her, like this was with lines and everything. A front and a back effect, exactly. And if you're making a folded ring, that's the same thing. You'll get a front and a back effect. Or if you don't switch which half you're using at your turns, you get like on the left there'll be a smooth front, but on the right where it's going to fold, it'll be the ridge on it. So these are little things to watch sometimes when you're doing. And think about, too, that we'll talk about, I seem to be using the same technique. Yeah. So anyway, look at this. Here's a leaf. My little squiggle looks so much like her leaf that I thought of that right away. But this is what you need to play. Whenever you don't feel like really tatting something, start playing around. And I want to show you another thing I thought about. I'm going to go down to my, I'm going to close that up and go down to my, well, maybe not my tabletop, I'll go up to me. When I think about chains like that, I think of the book by Lindsay Rogers, Tatting Collage. And this is what I'm thinking as far as freeform tatting. Just start making shapes. Hers are actually trees that she's planned. And let's see, I gotta. Oh, I know, the other thing. If I closed one of the, I put it together right here. I guess that's not a, whoops, right in front of my face. Let's see if I can get it. No, I gotta move the other way. Well, I'm gonna take this one that's bigger. Whoops, it's got my thread wrapped around it. I'm gonna go back down to my tabletop. Because this is another thing I thought of. If I do that to it, is it on that side or this? This one on this side, I think. It reminded me of a mushroom. Doesn't that kind of look like a mushroom? Especially if I made a little. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. Especially if I made the top a little bit bigger. To me, it looks like a mushroom. We're talking about this little piece I did of a wavy line. And how many different things it can look like, and how many shapes it could look like. And it's very organic. And I can show this. I don't know how well. This tree is all made of chains. The trunk that Lindsay Rogers has put together. And if you don't have her book, she has a lot of little things like this. But here and there, she just puts, it's just irregular and what I consider free form. The word free form, I think I have that here someplace. I probably closed it. I know I looked it up. It's uh-oh, there's an echo. How bad has it been? I think I forgot to. Okay, hopefully now it's better. A keyhole, yes, it's gone great. I forgot to turn my speakers down on my computer. But the mushrooms then, I don't know if I can flip my book this way. Oh, I can't quite get it over far enough. I'm going to pull this over. Look at the mushrooms that she did. Now, although I consider it freeform, very organic, freeform is basically unsymmetrical, asymmetrical. It's not symmetrical shapes. They're much more organic. However, you still, can count the stitches and write up a pattern for it. Look at her cute little snail. Yes, the snail is adorable. And she's got things like this. This is the kind of thing I think we need more of. And she's got a whole bunch of little things, like the little cattail. Let's see, what else? A little bug here. Looks almost like a ladybug. Poppy bud. It's a poppy bud. And so just playing around, taking your line and adding rings to it here and there. And her little butterfly. So I want you to just play with your shapes. I've got a couple different books here to show you. Freeform is very, very much in, Helma Setman's. Sorry, I'm switching a lot today. And Helen is it Seepman? Yeah. And her tatting, artistry and tatting. And that's what this is. She makes all these scenes. And this is all freeform tatting. Let me pull this way up again. I'm going to show you a lot of books for inspiration today. She's done a lot of really picoed flowers. It's hard to get some of them under the... So there, in some ways, there are a lot of this type of thing out here there, but not. Here's another edging of hers. Another book that I'm thinking of. Oh, I really need to go back and show you the technique here and show what I mean by the. Uh-oh, it's coming. My camera's coming loose. Okay, here is the front side. I've got like 4 picots there, I believe. Picots. 4 double stitches here. Let me add it's hard to know where to get this focused. Well, 2 more stitches on. Okay, I got a nice curve there. Now, if I simply reverse my work, notice I can start the next piece this way just by reversing my work, but it will have the little ridge across the back. And now if I start, it's almost like there's a half stitch there. And this is what I used to do, at least for one of my projects. So here on the back, I better put another stitch in there to hold it. Here on the back, the line is right here. And on the front, it's smooth. The legs are all close together. Okay? But there's a problem with the other side. You would have to, painting with tatting, yes, it is so beautiful. You like the Tatting Innovation book? And yeah, they're both wonderful. For ideas, there's nothing like sitting and going through some other, books. If I were to just reverse my work, I have a problem because if I flip it back up, let's see, oh here, I'm working this way, and if I flipped it down to reverse this way, flipping it down, I'm going to end up with a thing on a little ridge on the bottom. But it's not going to look the same as the other one. What I found, the only thing I could do is, it doesn't matter which way I flip it, it seems to come out. Now this is not using a half stitch. This is just flipping it and starting with a full stitch. But on this side, it doesn't turn out looking right at all. Or is it? Well, it looks funny in there. So if you go to the folded ring technique that Martha S. does, I'm going to just put in a few stitches here. This is a big boy shuttle, so it's kind of hard to work with my okay, I've got a short piece here. If we do a first half stitch here, that first half wants to start twisting backwards, which would be where you would turn it if you're flipping, doing a folded ring. But since I'm not doing a ring, I'm just going to, now that I've put the half stitch in, reverse my work and do a full stitch on the back, which starts with the second half of a, whoops. Remember, and this is kind of like front side, back side tatting. If you wanted to make it look right. If I flip it over, it's almost like I have the left side of a stitch. And I'm sounding confusing now. But I'm going to do a full stitch. And I've done the first half. Okay. And this is where it wants to turn, right there. So if I do 2 more stitches, if I want the 2 sides to look like they're similar, and they are going to slant a little, this time I'm going to do the second, oh, I got a knot in my thread, the second half for the half stitch. Before I did the first half, now I'm going to do the second half for my half stitch. And now I'm going to keep going on as if I was making a folded ring. Now this one, it's starting to go forward, or towards me. The other one went away from me. The second half stitch starts to go towards you. That's all I'm getting at, really. And this is something really to sit down and play with. Because even though all you're doing is making chains, when you reverse, I should, if I can, we should end up with the same on each side. And I don't think that's going to. I'm having trouble this week even tatting and getting my things straight. So anyway, I'm going to finish showing you some books. And what I'm thinking of is, for anyone who's not already starting a project, let's start making a shape. I'm thinking of using anything that can be put side by side to make a strip. And what we can do with our strips is, besides the fact that we could like make them and then attach them down and put them on like a dowel or something, so you have a hang down and it would look almost like a bell pull. You can do things like that. What if you put a diamond together and then another diamond on each side and a diamond together? That would hang down. The other thing anything like that would do is go around a container. Now this happens to be my oatmeal container, which I've made in a craft class. We cut them down, and then you can cover them either with fabric or with scrapbooking paper, and make a band. It's like making a hat band that'll go around of your shapes. We want to play with shapes. Whether you make octagons or whether you make squares or rectangles, maybe put a rectangle and a circle next to it and then a rectangle and a circle. What you have to do is measure around the distance you want to go around, and of course it's going to need to slide on from the bottom, so it can't be super tight. But then figure out how wide each of those, like each rectangle has to be and each circle has to be. Or maybe it's rectangles and a diamond. Or maybe you take a diamond and a rectangle and put another, take a diamond and a rectangle, and where they come to the center, they're going to leave a space at the top. make another shape to fit in there. We want to start working with shapes, and that can go around that. This I'm using, and I'm going to see if I can fix up something inside. So I can use this as a double yarn holder. This is a plastic applesauce jar from Walmart. And I want to devise something that'll hold the two apart in the center so I can pull each of them separately. And for me, the way I work, I need to keep my balls contained somehow, and so often I'm working at least with one ball and a shuttle, and I want to be able to keep both threads in the same container. If I need to rewind a shuttle, I can pull it out of there. I can see narrow bands going around this of tatting, or a big band of it. I actually have a bookmark that was made for me, I think, and Amy made it for me. A bookmark design, it's hearts that are one right side up and one upside down that would go around there. And I could leave it, I think I would leave it plain inside, or I could wrap cording around. There's little dents. I don't know if you can see that. Mason jars. You could put it around a mason jar. Measure how far it goes around this. This is a classical spaghetti sauce, but it's actually a mason jar too. And right now mine has a mix of bleach and water in it for cleaning. Let's see, I had two other books here, I think. Oh, oops, I gotta go tabletop again. Here's a leaf. We've talked about leaves a lot. Here's another simple leaf, but yet it's different. It's a vintage leaf. Whoops. 2 square the adjoin, only 3 corner. Oh, you can make a corner bookmark. Yes, exactly. And this is, let me see what else is in here. Oh, there's the leaf with a rose. There are picots used in interesting ways. Look at the way they're. And this is Shabby Chic by Rosella Linden. That's Ruth Perry. This book I was happy to, I actually got it from her at a get-together, I think in New York, the Hector thing. The other thing I started was a bobble, B-O-B-B-L-E. And notice this has got 3 rings on it so far. These are stacked rings. It's 3 rings, one on top of each other. The interesting thing about this technique is the blue ones are worked, let's see, the base of the blue ones is here, I believe. Let's see, there's the, yeah, the base of the blue rings, I've got the blue rings are tatted clockwise, and when you tat the second ring, it's tatted clockwise, but you're starting at this end. This center ring goes from the base over here to the top. So you're basically hooking the center of a ring with this little thread that goes, it's actually the second thread that comes from the second ring, and that's what you use on this side to hook them all together. And then on this side, they're hooked together. But when you tat the next one, this, I guess I'm ready to tat this one. The thread's coming from down here. It's through the center picot of that ring, and now I'm going to tat the ring. See how this one, the base of the ring is there. This one's going to go this way. And when I get halfway around, I'll be connecting it by like looping the thread over here and then going on, and that connects your next ring to the previous ring. And it's really an interesting technique. And this is Stacked Rings, and this is Rhoda Alt's book. I've shown that a lot before. And this is her baubles. These are her baubles. And they are actually rings. And this is her chapter, Breaking the Rules. She doesn't show a diagram. She just tells you how to do it. And breaking the rules is what we want to do. Now, bauble, B-A-U-B-L-E, that is a solid cylinder that is done with one base ring or a mock base ring. And hi, Janella. And then you continue on. Let's see. So it's got the, let me put this down from, it's got the one base ring. Say this top one was my one base ring. Or it's a mock ring. Because if you do a mock ring, your thread's coming right out of that closing loop. And you're just going to keep tatting around, spiraling up. It's one solid coil chain. Which then, when you do that technique, you end up putting in extra threads, so you have a thread coming up and joining on each side. This side, and it comes up on this side, so there's two ends, and one that comes up at the base down here, and one that comes up on this side. So you take two pieces of thread, lay one vertical, one horizontal, and you start building up and joining to those as you go around. So that is a really interesting, and you get can make not just, you can make them like smaller and then larger and smaller. I haven't tried it on the stacked rings, but I know on the coils they do that a lot. And so we've got the real rings stacked up. That's a bauble named by Rhoda Alt. A bauble, B-A-U-B-L-E, was named by Bobby Demmer, I believe. Jane Eberl has it in her site. And she named it a bauble, and that's where you do the continuing spiral up instead of individual rings. So that's the difference. There is one other technique of stacked rings that, it's funny, you do a series of rings and then you put a long picot down through the base, and like you'd have all your rings and they're all together, like, you know, they're spread out and they all, like you've made them side by side. And then you push them all up into a stack, and you go through and pull one of your threads through, and then you slide your shuttle through that loop, and it ties them all together. But it's a really, they don't lay flat one on top of another. It's a stacked rings, but they all kind of fan out into almost some kind of a seaweed plant that could grow on the bottom of the thing. So that's with the names. A bauble and a bauble. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing them right. When I was talking about the bands to go around jars and things, this is new dimensions in tatting. This is the way my weeks have gone, but we'll stumble through anyway. And this book, it has a lot of things like this. And this, to me, is real artistry, too. And they're just using a netting on the back of it that looks like was handmade. But this book has so many interesting things in it. The one that I want to mention, like when you're just playing around, is the fish in here. Oh, there it is. Look at this fish. If you start just playing around, and there's not beads in it, those are actually holes between close together picots, but they could be beads. But look at how every section has a different kind of a stitch in it. And if you like geometric type things, this is New Dimensions in Tatting. I actually have two of these. The first one I ever got was all in Dutch, I think. Todd Han van Beek. But then it came out in English, so I have both copies of that. But think about that. This one, look at the texture, the denseness of all the picots. Whoa! Can you see all the picots in that bottom section? The fluffy light blue. And the other thing you could do is do a spiral like you're working on, Liz, and put beads in that, rather than being real tight to the ring, or on a picot that's really a tight picot, make them a little looser, and as you do each spiral around, push them towards the front, and they'll stand up on the top. I think it was Patty, shoot, I had the name this morning right on my mind. Starts with a D. Anyway, who has done that technique, and I think Carrie Solomon has used it in many of her things. So, was there anything else I was going to talk about? Oh, whoops. I just closed my, there we go. Get it open so I can see myself and see the, let's see if I can find my, there we go, my live stream again so I can, Patty Duff, thank you, Katia. It was Patty Duff that did that. And what was I going to talk about now? Oh, I have this sitting next to me, and this is what it does. This is for, I'm thinking of, shoot. Anyway, I know who it is. She's making the bee, and this is actually floral wire, which made me think, if you used a mason jar or the plastic jar or even a round container. You could even use another container that would be fun is I buy a lot of Hershey's cocoa. That would be a fun container to cover and put tatting on. And that could be used for flowers and fake flowers inside of it. I mean, it could have water in it because they're plasticky, I think. Well, I don't know if the inside is, come to think of it. But anyway, it could go with fake flowers. And if she uses something like this wire to put her bee on, that would be cute in that vase of flowers that's covered with tatting. The vase covered, the box or the jar covered with tatting. Mary, yes, Mary. Thank you. like I said, there are some times when I'll go a couple weeks and it just feels like I can barely focus. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is irregular shapes. And I have, my context is floating again. I have a Pinterest, my Pinterest pulled up here. Oh, how to make a grid. That's for tonight. I guess what I'm going to do is pull up Pinterest to look at asymmetrical shapes, since a lot of them are leaves. Oh, I have a link already picked for it, but where am I? I've been looking at quilt things lately. Let me go find my leaves. I think it's under tatted. And I'm not going to find it probably. I don't know where my tatted leaves are. I had them up just earlier today and I thought I'd left the window open. I'll open up inspiration. Here's a lot of paisley shapes. And this is where we're going to start talking about negative space in your designs. We'll start that next week. I'm looking for and I'm going to go, yep, I'm going to her page. I need to find this on my page. I thought I was ready for class today, but I'm not. You think you saw it, tatting leaves? Oh, you probably did, and I just was not seeing it. I know I've got to get organized. Hearts, tatting stars, tatting designers. I've got way too many boards. I wanted to just look at Mark Meyer's leaves. Oh, tatting leaves, okay. This is one of Mark Meyer's leaves. And look how interesting this is. He's used pearl tatting or Maltese tatting, so he's got, I believe he has, or it's a zigzag chain, or I think it's too fat for a zigzag chain. Oh, let's make it bigger. But here's something that is, if you're playing around with your outside shape, like even the shape I made, I could add picots to it inside and outside, and then add different things in different. He's kept the just two lines to look like veins, but this is a very freeform style pattern. And these are the kind of things, look at here, a small ring, a medium, a large, a medium, and a small. And that's giving him the shape. Now up here, he did the same thing. So you've got consistency because it's still 6 rings all in a row, which gives you the consistency with this side. But now he's left a hole. He's left negative space right here. And when you're doing freeform the negative spaces can be important too. And I think this one almost looks like a soft cornered triangle, which kind of matches the shape here, the shape up here, and the shape there. So you've got consistent elements in an asymmetrical design, and you've got kind of a rhythmic pattern up here and down and up there. You've got, I think this has got I'm quite sure it's Maltese because it's going off both directions. It's 3 threads. And so combining techniques, even in something small like this and simple, you can get some really interesting effects in there. And this is the kind of thing that you can see if you take my little white piece that I started, and I started putting rings here and there and everything. Thank you for that, Liz. I got me to go back and look again. So this is what I'm thinking of as far as freeform. Now, like my simple shape that I've got, obviously was so much like moose cans that I wouldn't use that. I would make it probably wider, and of course I would use different techniques inside of it. But I'd like to see us do some things that aren't exactly matchy on each side. Unless you're a person that likes that, then start with a rectangle or a circle and do a medallion. And we can talk more about that in shapes, because a medallion can go from, oh, I know what I can show you here. Let me pull up something here. Something I was playing with. I know, Katia, you've seen this. I don't think you have, Elizabeth. It was in a previous class in the I'm clicking time to draw to find what I've already done. I put an M in clone instead of an N. This is the one I was playing around with that one day when we were cloning. And I'm thinking, I really want to make this. I don't know how it's going to go together. But if I just start doing a spiral, and this could get bigger if I put picots in there, and it could get wider apart instead of making a tight spiral or of course I'd have to have a different, my diagram would look different, a little different. And then start putting some things in it. Maybe I'll do some of those wonky chains here that maybe follow the shape here of these. But I think I'm going to just start playing with it and see where I go with it. I'll start out with the simple line. I could even make it it's not as easy to put picots on that you can join to if you're making a Josephine chain. But this could be a chain that is even a little wonky too. So I just want you to start thinking about all the possibilities out there and the ways you can put things into artistic pictures or things like that. Let your imagination go free. And like Rhoda Alt said, you can break the rules, do your own thing. So I hope that today that this has inspired you guys to start working on something if you're not already. And any little, even my little white piece, which I don't know, it's disappeared somewhere around my computer here. Could end up turning into something. Let me, one last time, I'm going to go down. One last time, I'm going down to my tabletop and thinking of coiling this funny shape around and how interesting that would be in the center of a medallion. Maybe I would make four of this right here that are even, to make us start with a wavy square, or I could make 2 or 3 of those in a row and put one big one at the end to make a rectangle, either to start, or a finish edge around a motif that's rectangular. So just keep trying different things. More like a snail shell, yeah, tighten the center and going west, exactly, yes, exactly, the possibilities are great. And then you think about floating rings, yes. And then you think about adding beads in. And remember, things like 3 beads put on a picot can make a corner. And the angle of the corner would depend upon the size beads you use. So that's another thing to start making pieces of, is try using beads to make corners. I don't know how many corner techniques all of you know, but there are a lot of them out there. There's a pointed chain that I love that I think it's John Usoff. Maybe I should look that up. I think I've shown it to you before. Now let me just go to this here. I'm going to put in, whoops, I'm not spelling. Oops, I forgot to put tatted. Oh, it's even on YouTube, how to make, oh. Here, it's this right here, I know. Let's go to that page. Tatarenda, I think that's John. Your tat's away. Her pointed chains right here are fun to try. And she's got the technique here. It's just a little kind of a knot. It's almost like a square knot, only the bottom one only goes around once and this goes more like a shoe tie. But it really does give you a little point. And this is kind of how it looks. So there's a lot of things like that. That's something I want to put on this piece too. So all kinds of ideas and inspiration, I hope. So I hope you enjoyed what we looked at today, and if you haven't started a project, just sit down and play around and see what you come up with. So that's it for today, and I'll be seeing you next week. Bye-bye for now.